Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here, and I'm joined with Hannah Burr, as usual.
Hello.
And, of course, Siber Wren making an appearance.
Very unusual. Hello.
Yes, very unusual, but
Yeah.
we got a big thing to talk about here as a brand new trailer for the Acolyte. I wouldn't say even just brand new. It's the only trailer we've gotten from the Acolyte has finally dropped.
Yes.
So we got a lot to dive in there and look at and analyze, because there's a lot of stuff floating around about how this impacts the saga, and definitely want to talk about that a little bit as well. We'll talk about episode 8 of The Bad Batch that dropped today as well. Unfortunately, Martin hasn't seen it yet, but that's all right.
Just got home. Yeah.
Trust me, we wouldn't talk about it if it was that revealing. And then a couple other things that to bring up, but first and foremost, as always, thanks to the patrons out there that are supporting the show. I put on our episode 2 commentary early for them to check out. That is out actually now. It's live today. So mine and Hannah's episode 2 commentary is out there. Of course, a little trailer that I'd made for it is there too. Martin, I sent it to you early like you asked me to. Did you watch it?
No.
Okay.
It has been that full of a day. It was like work, football practice, race home to get on here with you. So I haven't had a moment's
Believe
time.
us, we get busy schedules.
Oh yeah, trust me. I did send it to you. I did send it to you last night, but that's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Must have been after bedtime then, Visible. I don't
Maybe
remember.
it might have been.
Yeah.
So that's out there on our YouTube channel, and the commentary is out there. We're already talking about when we're going to be doing our episode 3 commentary. We're still working out some schedules there. Looking at, again, trying to do a morning session maybe so we can get all of our patrons involved, because we got 1 or 2 over the pond that normally we've done it. It's been in the middle of the night for them. So we might have to do early. I know Martin, Cyber, we're trying to maybe get you on possibly doing this too. But if we do early, it might be too early for you. So,
It depends on your definition of early. Yeah.
yeah, well, it might be early for you. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. We'll figure it out. But look for our episode 3 commentary for our patrons sometime at the end of this month, early April, and we'll put that out mid-April to keep the trend going that we're going to do a commentary every month throughout this year. As we get towards the end of the year, we'll do all the Star Wars films. Let's see. So there's that. Now, a couple of news things real quick. I just noticed on StarWars.com, because we're going to be talking about the Acolyte, which takes place during the High Republic era, or a little post High Republic era, still considered, I guess, the tail end of the High Republic era. StarWars.com actually just released an updated version, because I think they've done this before, but they updated a version of the chronological reading order of the High Republic novels. So if you go on there now and list on there, I mean, they literally have every book, comic in order of, the timeline. So if you want to check it out, go there. There's a lot now. We're in phase 3 of this thing called Trials of the Jedi. You have Quest of the Jedi, which was actually phase 2, but that chronologically that's first, because it takes place even further back. And then you've got Light of the Jedi, and then you've got Trials of the Jedi now, which is out there right now.
Why can't they do things in order? That's confusing.
Yeah, they did it exactly how the movies came out, right?
Yeah.
The original trilogy, and then the prequels and the sequels. So they're doing that now with these. But there's a lot out there now, and there's definitely characters, at least one that we know of. There's probably going to be more that we haven't seen necessarily yet, which we'll talk about too, that are alive during that era, that are alive in the Phantom Menace. So that will obviously be probably a part of the Acolyte as well. So we'll get into that here in a second, but that was interesting to see. And I believe it's still going to wrap sometime in 2025, the third phase here. So that whole series will be complete, and you can go and get everything out on your shelves for that. So cool that they're doing that. They're obviously doing this because the era is a hot topic right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got a lot to get to on the Acolyte, so let's dive real quick into the Bad Batch, Hannah. I know me and you have seen this thing. Overall impression of this episode, go.
I mean, I still really liked it. I still felt like it was a solid story, and I think it furthered the story. However, if we are going to pick an episode at this point to equivalent to a filler, I feel like this would be it. But that's not a complaint. Sometimes shows need fillers. You need that palate cleanser, especially after the last 2 episodes we had last week. So I think this was well welcomed. But it still progressed the story versus the other filler episodes that we got in season 2 of Bad Batch, which I don't feel like led us anywhere. This, we still see progression, but Martin, to your benefit, there really aren't any spoilers in this episode, if that makes sense. There isn't anything that that majorly happens or is a huge cliffhanger or anything like that.
So what you're saying, like if it still progressed the story, then we could get rid of the term filler. We can call it maybe like a bridge episode. It's just bridging the gap to the next big story arc.
I like that. That needs to be a term, a bridge episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's definitely doing that. I think it's, I honestly, I think there's been a couple of these. I feel like in this a little bit because, the episode, was it the 5th episode, I think, that we went back to that base. I can't remember the planet, the base where Crosshair, killed that officer. And, that was kind of that was a good episode for him and Hunter to kind of progress their relationship. Yeah. And, because they went to go get information off this data pad that they ended up not getting information on, right? So that really didn't do much as far as advance the story in a sense, because they're back at square one. But right. That's why I feel like this one too. I think there's definitely some character moments in this, especially with Omega and Crosshair. But Wrecker and Hunter, who go after this bounty hunter, I think right now it's kind of the same thing right now. We're looking for information. We're trying to find out where Tantus is. We're trying to find out, why they want Omega. We as an audience are, exactly what the M counts are. We as the audience are just along the ride trying to figure it out with them, right? Because we don't know the answers yet. So I thought it was good. A lot of the stuff was from the trailer. We did see, like the creatures coming out of the water attacking Hunter. That was part of the trailer, so we finally got that part.
Cool. So most of the only trailer sequences we haven't seen yet is again that chase on the edge of the cliff.
We still haven't seen that.
They're trying to get rescued from Fee off of whatever vehicle that is. Yeah,
that's right. We still.
Really
I thought that might have happened here because Fee's in the beginning of this episode, but that didn't happen either. I could have swore this could have been the Asajj Ventress episode, but it wasn't.
I was scared that it was the Asajj Ventress episode. I was.
You're scared. You're scared to get Ventress?
No, I was scared to think, oh crap, she's alive.
Right.
How the heck is she alive? Like, that's what I was scared of, because the more and more I think about it, the more and more I want her to be a memory.
Well, I'm leaning towards the way this M count thing's going. I think she's alive. I think somehow she's going to be alive. Now, could be wrong, but
let me ask you guys: what is going to be a satisfactory result or answer or reason for her to be alive?
It's difficult for me because I think the book did, I think, a detailed job explaining or illustrating the whole process of taking her back to Dathomir and burying her, and then all, and the thing about it is I get it if we don't ever see a body, that a person can come back. I think that's why it's a little open for like Mace Windu. Like we just seen him get thrown out the window. It's possible if he comes back, hey, he landed on his feet and he went away and hid, whatever. But someone like Asajj, where we saw her, or we got details of how she died, you know, getting basically electrocuted from Dooku and sacrificing herself for Quinlan's life. I don't even know how at first. I don't even know how you really can explain how she gets back. You know, I've heard rumors that maybe she didn't die. Maybe she just, her heart stopped or something like that. And they maybe fake. I don't know how they would fake it, but you know, I tell you what, it almost came. We almost came close to this a little bit, which would have kind of upset me. But in the comics, Anna, I think you were kind of with me on this. You know, there was a part in the Darth Vader series of comics that take place after Episode 5, Return of the Jedi, or I'm sorry, Empire Strikes Back, where all of a sudden Vader comes face to face who he thinks is Padme, but it ends up being Sabe, right? But they didn't say anything, and for the longest time, people were like, "Wait a minute, did they bring Padme back to life?" You know, but like that wouldn't have been possible, right? Because she literally died, and they had a funeral. But I think they've kind of flirted with this a few times, where we're going to bring somebody back. I don't know how they do it, and I'm not even sure how I'm going to feel about it. But I'm leaning more, you know, especially after this episode too. I'm leaning more towards that she is probably going to come back.
For the Darth Vader bit, I'm sorry, I do have to go on a slight tangent on this. I want to see how they did that because Anakin knows. Here's the thing: Anakin knows about Sabe. There's a whole
big arc. Yep. Yeah, there's a whole big arc with Sabe and Vader and all them. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm very interested to see how they did that. Because I didn't read that yet.
Okay.
Did he recognize her or anything? Because that would be interesting. Because in Queen's Hope, in the book, he immediately knew that she was not Padme, that she was Sabe. Mm-hmm. In fact, I can't remember if he force chokes her or something, but he does something very threatening to her, saying, "Where's Padme?
Yeah, right.
And why are you in my room?"
Yeah, actually, I remember that. Yeah.
And she's like, "Who are you?" Like, she's so confused. Like, she recognized Anakin, but she's like, "What do you mean? This is my room?" And he's like, "No, it's." Mm-hmm. So, which leads to a whole thing. But back to Ventress. There is only one other time that I can think of in Star Wars where a death, technically two deaths, were faked.
Okay.
And that was the twins, Luke and Leia.
Yeah. Okay.
Technically, their deaths were faked because Padme was buried seeming to be pregnant.
Yes.
So the only thing I can think of that could even be remotely acceptable is that they faked her death so well that they even fooled the readers. That's the only thing that makes sense if they were to do it.
But why would they fake Ventress' death?
Well, I mean, Quinlan could have been like, well, she's going to be in immense danger now because this Dooku's going to be after her. Everyone's going to be after her. I want to protect her, so let's fake her death.
Obi-Wan would have had to been in on that, though, because he was standing guard the whole time.
And if he was in on it, he was in on it. I mean, I was about to say, like, it would be the most elaborate faking of death to the point where even the readers were deceived. That's the only explanation I can think of that would even remotely make any sense.
Unless I mean, the things that I keep going back to, because I just listened to the audiobook again, and she wasn't quite dead when Quinlan found her, and he says, I put her in stasis to try to keep her alive. So she was in stasis for a while, I think up until the point they transport her back to Dathomir. And it seems like she's gone at that point, but when he puts her in that pool of water, it comes alive. The pool of water starts to glow green, and all these energies and magical dark force energies surround her and take her into the depths of the pool. And that's the only thing that makes me think something was happening. Why did the pool come to life and all this energy happen and receive her body? It's like, I don't know. Something was going on there, and I wonder if they have an explanation. I think it's going to be tied back to that particular detail.
Huh.
Well, you have to. I feel like you have to almost show that, because not everybody's going to read this thing. Read Dark Disciple, so no one's going to know what they're referencing if they don't show that. So
for me, I don't know if I'm going to need an answer to satisfy me, because I love Asajj so much that I think I'll be okay, unless it's completely stupid and makes no sense. I think I'll be okay with whatever they give us. She is my favorite Star Wars female character of all time. So I think I just want to try to remember the points that they described, the way she apparently died, the way she was released in the pool of water. If there's something that ties back to that, is my guess that they'll do. But if they don't give us any explanation, and it's just a one-off, then that might be the hardest way to accept it. But what I want to say about Asajj is that she's one of the very rare characters that kind of teeters on the dark side. She's kind of a gray character, and it didn't matter. We all still cheered for her and wanted her to succeed. And when you get into the book Dark Disciple, that's her redemption story. She does eventually come around, even though she's still dancing in the gray. She still comes around and she wins you over. And that's the magic of Ventress. There's not a lot of characters that can accomplish that, to still be sort of wicked, but still win your heart over.
Yeah.
And that's 100%. Why bringing her back, I'm going to be okay with it, as long as it's not completely stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at too. I think it's, but what like what me and Hannah were just saying though, like her story was so good from beginning to end. It's I don't know. It's just one of those ones. It's like, oh man.
Well, it's tragedy. It's tragic.
Sure.
Rips your insides out.
It absolutely does.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It's coming though. It's coming soon. I think it has to be within the next episode or two, because we're getting closer to, the end here. We're over halfway through now till this season. So I think, I guess Hannah, we're saying good episode. Mm-hmm. Maybe not one of the best, but brings back a familiar face in Fennec and introduces to a crazy new bounty hunter. I mean,
no, thank you.
He creeps my daughter out. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Alone. No.
That's right out of the best horror thriller movies. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. We'll let you watch that.
Enjoy.
Soon as we're done here. Yeah.
As soon as we're done. Yeah. And then, of course, then we'll be on the Mandalore podcast talking all kinds of stuff about it here this weekend.
Sunday night, yep.
And now, okay, so let's move into, I'll just quickly mention, like I do always, the releases coming soon here. In March, we got Defy the Storm. Next, in a couple weeks, you'll be getting The Living Force, brand new novel coming. Temptations of the Force, June 11th, and the Mace Windu novel, Glass Abyss, still August 6th. As far as comics next week, you got High Republic number 5 and Thrawn Alliances number 3, Jango Fett number 1, brand new series coming. Cool. And then at the end of the month, Obi-Wan Kenobi number 6. Actually, wait, today's the 20th. Jesus. So
Yep.
Jango Fett actually just dropped today. So go get that on your shelves. Okay, so the Acolyte trailer dropped on Tuesday. And here we go. So Hannah and I did a reaction video for this on our Patreon page. So we'll, if you're obviously a patron, you saw that, but we'll let Martin go first here. Martin, overall, just kind of impressions of this trailer.
Woo! This is what Star Wars fans have been waiting for. I think we've been enjoying the much more slow burn, intellectual, make you think type of shows like Andor, and it's even some of the Bad Batch and Obi-Wan Kenobi. That it's just feels like it's been a while since we've been thrust right into the heart of Jedis and dark versus light and lightsaber action. And for some reason, it was just it felt like a breath of fresh air. Like all these lightsabers, all this action-packed maneuvers and force stuff. I was just like, yes, oh my god, this looks like so much fun. It was just amped me up with excitement. This is what Star Wars fans love. This is what we loved about the movies, why everybody always gets excited about Jedi and lightsabers, and they're giving it to you. I mean, it didn't give you a lot. It doesn't really tell you a lot about the story. In fact, we got a lot more Jedi than I thought we would. Like, they were only hinting at the Acolyte and the Dark Force, that there's something growing, there's something developing in the shadows, and we don't know what it is. We got more Jedi than anything, but wow. And I have to say, already, Carrie-Anne Moss is probably going to be my favorite Jedi ever. Damn, she looked awesome. That is the perfect role for her. After doing The Matrix and how much we all loved Trinity on The Matrix, this is the next best thing for her. Being a Jedi and kicking butt like she did. Oh, wow. Yeah, I love her already.
Hannah, how about you?
I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but I absolutely loved all the Jedi we saw. Like, it was, as you said, such a breath of fresh air. It's like, oh, yes, this is what we wanted. I think, too, though, the trailer, like, immediately, it gave us the theme. Your eyes deceive you. So reach out in the Force. And based on what we know of what this show is about, I feel like that's going to be our theme. That's going to be our mantra throughout the whole series. So that's really cool. The fact that we see younglings being trained is great. I think, though, something that is emphasized in this trailer that is very subtle is the fact that the Jedi do truly strive for peace. The fact that when that assassin, every single time we saw them attack a Jedi, the Jedi did not use their lightsaber against them.
True.
Everything they did was defensive, not offensive. So I think that's very important because that just demonstrates where the Jedi are at that point. They truly do believe they're keepers of the peace. They do not instigate. Like, that's what they do. And I think that's just so powerful, and it's going to be so cool to see how that does. Carrie-Anne Moss, I completely agree. She was just awesome. But, of course, we knew she was going to be awesome. I think... Oh, it was just so cool, that last bit where it seems like, and they could have cut it in a way to deceive us, but it seems like you have this army of Jedi launch themselves at the Sith. Like, oh, this is what we've been waiting for. And also, the other thing I'll say is that you can tell it's from a different era. It just has a different vibe about it, and it's so refreshing. And I'm so stinking glad we are finally outside of the Skywalker saga. Let's get more of this other time content.
Yeah.
Until you find out Carrie-Anne Moss is like Anakin's great-great-grandmother.
Don't. I even joked, like, watch the Sith is actually Palpatine trying to do his first attempt at destroying the Jedi.
Well, it is the start of that. It's the start of
it
the
absolutely
Jedi
is.
downfall for sure.
But you know what I mean. It's like his first
Yeah.
clone, and then he successfully clones
Yeah.
himself again for Phantom Menace. And
No.
But Dave, your thoughts?
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that we got this sooner than expected. I didn't think we'd get this early on. To be honest, like side note, I'm surprised that Star Wars has already changed their social to the Acolyte, even though we're in the middle of the Bad Batch still.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
So they're promoting this thing sooner than most of these shows that they've put out. Usually
That's true.
it's only about a month
right
before that we get this stuff. So it's a little. I think they're putting a lot of stock into this. I think they're trying to get a lot of people to watch this and to, like you said, almost breathe a new, breathe in new air in this new timeline that we're trying to get introduced to.
But it makes sense why they would do that, because it is a new timeline. It is a new thing. We're seeing
totally.
characters that people don't necessarily recognize. So of course they're going to be scared. I would imagine they're scared about Skeleton Crew as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a similar thing with Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, but Skeleton Crew is during the same timeline as Ahsoka and all that stuff. So it's going to be familiar once they start crossing over. This one is completely on its own. I mean, there is no. I mean, obviously, familiar characters could show up, which we'll talk about. But as far as like the storylines, and we're going to learn more about Darkseid and these dark characters, and the purpose behind what they're trying to do, and it's like it's this whole new story. It's just now I will say that I don't know if I felt like I noticed it being that different of an era, because I mean we're 100 years before Episode 1 in this era. I mean, in the grand scheme of the Star Wars galaxy, this thing, the Jedi we've learned recently have been around for 25,000 years. So 100 years is very small time period, right?
Not a big gap
in Star Wars. So like when what was his name? I have it pulled up here. These characters, Soul. So Jedi Master Soul, who is played by the guy from Squid Games. Like I don't know why I keep forgetting to look his name up.
He's an amazing actor.
Amazing actor.
He was the instructor that was saying, "Close your eyes." Was that the guy?
No, he was
about?
the lead character. Oh yeah, sorry. In this, yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
He's so when he was walking around there with the younglings, you can see Coruscant in the background, right? And I was trying to see, okay, did they make Coruscant look any different or anything? And it kind of looks the same. You don't see a lot of ships flying around though, right? So I don't know if it's like a finished. Maybe the shot's not finished fully. I wouldn't be surprised if they added ships later for the release, but not a lot of activity going on there. But I did notice they didn't do that either when we saw the Anakin Obi-Wan flashback in Obi-Wan Kenobi. They didn't have a lot of ships flying around either. So maybe that's just something, that part of the galaxy, or that part of the city, they don't do that, which is kind of weird because I think it's like that the entire city. But anyway, details. I'm stoked. I loved it. I think this was, some of the negative things I've seen online are that, it doesn't really give us too much. I don't want a lot.
Of course you don't.
You don't want to give stuff away.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want
It's the whole point of a trailer.
This was perfect for me.
Yeah.
In fact, to be honest, I don't know if I want to see anything else until the show comes out.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to get another trailer probably on May the 4th, possibly. But I don't need to see anything else. This is enough for me. I know that there's a lot of Jedi. I know that there's a Sith / Dark Warrior. That's all I need right now. That's all I need. And like I agree with Carrie Ann Moss. I think here's the one thing I noticed in there that really made me think back, because what we've seen of Jedi, which technically all we've seen really is the prequel trilogy Clone Wars in that animation form. And then from there, it's always been just one or two Jedi at a time, right? You got Kanan and Ezra, and now you got Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine, blah, blah. And then, of course, you got the sequel trilogy, which didn't have a lot of Jedi either. It's just Rey. And so, George, when he originally thought of this, like, technically they're kind of modeled off samurai, right? Mm-hmm. So you have the samurai, the lightsaber representing sword, but we've never seen them fight like martial arts, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in this, with Carrie and Saul, I mean, they're like martial artists, and that is awesome.
That was amazing.
Amazing, right? I mean,
yeah.
And it kind of just makes sense because of the history that George researched before he created this saga, right? It was Seventh Samurai, right? It was kind of the movie that
inspired him,
Jedi Knights. So seeing Carrie like fight like that, it's like, man, you don't need to pull your lightsaber out if you know how to fight like that, right? So.
Well, and it's force enhanced too. So
exactly,
yeah,
it's so cool.
And by the way, the actor that plays Saul is Lee Jung-jae.
Lee Jung-jae, yeah, that's exactly it. Yep, good job. So anyway, I think it's a hell of a cast. I think it's I haven't really seen anything that Leslie Headland had done before, but who the director is and the writer and the creator of this thing. But based on what I've seen, I'm totally into it. I'm totally psyched. I think it's going to be really good. I think, when I saw the Obi-Wan trailer, when I saw the Ahsoka trailer, which were two series that I was highly anticipating, to me, those lived up to my expectations. And seeing this trailer, I have a feeling this is going to live up to my expectations for sure, which are very high, very high.
Oh, yeah.
So a couple things I want to talk about and get your all's thoughts on, because what I've seen a lot on social media the past 24 hours is apparently the big issue that this trailer, a lot of people jumping to conclusions already.
Oh, boy. That
this is possibly retconning the discussions about the Sith from episode 1. Because everybody knows and should know that when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon go to the council in episode 1 to talk about this dark warrior, the Sith, he believes it's a Sith. Ki-Adi-Mundi and Mace Windu say that that's impossible. The Sith have been extinct for a millennia. And of course, Mace follows up and says, I'm pretty sure we would have known if they would have shown up, right? And Yoda just simply responds, clouded the dark side causes us to be, right? Or says something like that. Like, it's cloudy.
Always is, yeah.
So people are wondering, well, there's no way that these Jedi could see the Sith or see this person with a red lightsaber and survive. Or how is that possible that they see this and they say that line in Phantom Menace? So, well, to me, there's a lot of answers that you can do. So, but I do want to point this out because this is important, I feel like. Because you can simply say, well, those Jedi that experienced this in the Acolyte, and we still don't know for sure, what they see or what happens. I don't think any of them are alive, for one, in episode 1, right?
Right.
But there are at least 4 we know of that are alive. So Yoda is alive in this time period. Yaddle is alive in this time period. Oppo Rancisis, who is on the council both then and episode 1 is on there. And then Yaruf Poof is still alive. So we know that there's 4 council members that are on the council in episode 1. So of the 12, those 4 are alive 3 of them, Yoda, Opa, and Yarful, are on the council during this time in the High Republic. So just to get that out there, that there are Jedi that are alive. So if there was a sighting, or if there was some experiences with these Sith during this show, it was, there's probably an explanation for why it doesn't necessarily retcon. It doesn't retcon episode 1 at all. I don't think that's the point at all. But I just want to make it clear that something does probably happen, and there's a reason why it's not brought up like that in episode 1. Hannah, any thoughts there as far as what people are saying about that?
I mean, there could be several different reasons. One, which I'm going to steal one of your answers, Dave. It could just simply be no Jedi has survived after seeing the Sith. That's a very easy. I think another thing is the line that the guy, forget his name in the trailer, he doesn't say a Sith is killing Jedi. He says someone is killing Jedi. And it's pretty clear, both in books and in theory, that anybody can wield a lightsaber. It is more difficult to use if you are not force sensitive.
Right. But
you could still do it. So
it's just a sword.
It's just a sword. It's a vibroblade. It's a weapon. Mm-hmm. I think the other thing to keep in mind too is that just because you wield a red saber does not mean you are a Sith. Technically, Kylo Ren is not a Sith. He is a Knight of Ren.
Well, none of the Inquisitors are Sith either.
Exactly. None of the Inquisitors are Sith. They're Inquisitors. Mm-hmm. So just because you have a red blade does not mean you are a Sith.
Correct.
And then I have another theory, but I'm going to hold off on it in case you ask us later, in case you bring something up later. If you don't bring it up later, then I'll bring it up. But I'll keep quiet on that one. Martin, any thoughts?
I just really piggybacking off you guys. I think it's clearly, because this is a dark side story, it's about the Acolyte, where we're going to witness an individual rising in the power of the dark side and the Force. So I believe it's going to be a tragic story for the Jedi side of things. All these Jedi we're seeing are probably going to die. Mm-hmm. I mean, that scene where you see all of them ignite their lightsabers, I think they're only facing one individual. It's not army versus army, because you see, they're like, what is that? And you see this red lightsaber go spinning across the cavern and slicing through all the stalagmites and whatever. And that's when they're like, holy crap, and they draw the lightsaber. I have a feeling those guys, some of them are going to come out of that scene and not even out of the series. So that's probably the prevailing theory right now, is no Jedi survive witnessing this dark Force user. Or if they do, then that starts to trickle into, hey, maybe there's something happening with the dark side of the Force. It just doesn't get all the way to being Sith related yet.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I'm probably gonna go a different route, because I think what my feeling is that probably a little bit more what you said, Hannah. I think that. Oh, we're still going. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm here. I'm back. Sorry.
The thing about it is I think for 1,000 years, 1,000 years ago, before episode 1, Darth Bane survived the Great Jedi Sith War. He started the Rule of Two. Now, here's the thing, and I keep coming back to this. At the end of episode 1, I think we even said this in our commentary, right? Yoda and Mace know about the Rule of Two.
Yes.
How do they know about the Rule of Two if all the Sith have been gone for 1,000 years?
Holocrons research, because they do have a library of Sith holocrons. You didn't get to that part of Rise of the Red Blade.
Well, I know that there's Sith holocrons, but
they're in possession of some.
So that have been created during this 1,000-year absence?
Supposedly, there are Sith artifacts and holocrons that they have. It's mentioned. It's a mini.
They definitely have them from, pre-Darth Maul or Darth Bane for sure.
Right. But they might have them from Darth Bane too. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Which again, but see, by that meaning there, that would prove the fact that they're saying that that there's Sith around then during that 1,000-year. If they're finding holocrons and stuff during that time, I don't know if that's the case. But what I'm saying is that they know about the rule of two somehow. So I think something happens during this 1,000-year gap that causes them to gather information or get information, but the experiences aren't valid enough to really mark it down as like, Sith are around again or something like that. So, I just something in that line has to be maybe explained. I think it probably may come with this because I feel like on the Acolyte side, we'll dive into that rule of two a little bit more deeply and learn more about the Sith side of it and why they're doing that. I mean, we know kind of why with the power struggle between a master and apprentice on there, but we'll see it for the first time, really, the full, and I think we're going to see a lot of temptations of trying to lure somebody else to the dark side. And that's what I feel like is going to happen to one of these Jedi. I think they're going to be tempted and we're going to see that transition of what happens. Because we never really we've seen Anakin, obviously, but we never saw Darth Maul's change. We never saw Dooku's change fully. Kylo Ren, we never saw really except in the comics a little bit. But, it'd be cool to see that whole, stage, the stages and steps of becoming a Sith.
Yeah.
And so I think this will end up being chalked up as an experience that some Jedi have with this dark warrior. And I think the question is going to become that, is it Sith? Probably not. So we don't have to kind of mark it down in history as a Sith sighting. So that's why in episode 1, they still think, well, the Sith have not, because you remember, that's why, to be honest, that's why that line keeps somewhat confusing me, that Mason, because if they have experiences with these dark warriors, maybe throughout a lot of times throughout this 1,000 years, and they don't, because when they had the great Jedi Sith War, there were thousands of Sith, thousands of Jedi. I think to what Mace is kind of referring to when they're talking about in the council is that the Sith, we would have known if they returned because there'd be thousands of them.
Right.
Not 2 of them. But that's where it gets confusing at the end when Yoda's like, well, only 2 there are, a master and apprentice. Like, wait a minute, how do you know that there's only 2? So I don't know if Lucasfilm is thinking, wow, we gotta explain these lines, because I would love for them to explain those lines. But I don't know if we'll get there. But I think there's going to be some answers, though, that come from this as far as the Sith side of the story and, why that they are continuing this rule of 2. I think we're even going to see at this point, this is where I think the point is that for 800 years, no, 900 years, for 900 years, they've been trying to figure out how to take the Jedi out. And they haven't been able to, right? They haven't done anything because we get to the High Republic and this is like the height of the Jedi. So in this story, in this series, I think is where we're going to find out that the Sith, what they decide to do, how they decide to go with this plan, which is, I think in the end, obviously, is to infiltrate secretly throughout the government and just brainwash people into getting, and eventually Palpatine ends up being that person that takes that step. So I think that's where we're going to go with this, but I think we're going to learn more about the Sith and their teachings and their thoughts and their training and stuff like that. And of course, I think we're going to see a Jedi fall, in my opinion. But because I think the Acolyte, I think we talked about this, Hannah. I think the Acolyte they're referring to may not be a dark side user. It might be a Jedi that becomes the Acolyte.
Yes.
So
somebody switches them over.
Somebody switches,
manipulates them to change. Yeah.
That's who I think will end up being the Acolyte. I think.
Yeah.
But Dave,
better not be Carrie-Anne Moss.
I wouldn't put it past it that it's her. I wouldn't put it past it.
Dave, didn't the director say whatever you think it is, it's not that, or something like that?
That's exactly right. She says, I have it right here. She says, whatever you think the Acolyte is, it's not.
So I've got a really wild theory.
Okay.
Like a really wild theory.
I like wild theories. Go for it.
This is up there. So we see Soul. First off, like Soul's established kind of as one of the main characters.
He is the main character, I think.
I think he's going to end up being the Acolyte.
Ooh, okay.
And the reason why I think this is because he's one of the Jedi. If I remember correctly in the trailer, he's one of the Jedi that ignites his saber when they come face to face with this dark side wielder. So this is my theory. What I think is actually the case is that he finds out after all the other Jedi are slaughtered except for him that the dark side wielder is his old master. So in an attempt to save him, he decides to keep his mouth shut.
Oh.
Out of love and attachment to his master. And that is his descent into the dark side. And I think he's going to end up being Darth Plagueis. That is my theory right now based on the trailer. It's supposed to be...
Saul is going to be Darth Plagueis?
Yes.
Okay.
That is my theory. Hey, the director said it's not what you think it is. So I just went with the wildest thing I could think of.
You went outside the box. There's Hannah's theory way over there. I'm going to reach. And yep, that's the one.
That is, so what about this, the assassin right now that we're seeing, May? You think she is a dark side user, or do you think she's...
I don't think she's dark. I don't think she's a force wielder at all. I think she's sort of bounty hunter or a dark side wielder wannabe. But for some reason, she can't connect with the Force.
Because I almost think I want to agree with you, Hannah, because there's that one scene where she's facing against Carrie-Anne Moss, and Carrie-Anne Moss uses the Force in conjunction with some of her martial arts, and you see this assassin person kind of step back and go, whoa, what was that? And then she comes at her with some more flying, spinning kicks. She doesn't respond or retaliate with Force moves.
That's why I don't think. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So interesting. She could just be another Marok.
Exactly. Marok is just Marok.
I like your theory, Hannah, because I was thinking the same thing, that I do think this is going to be an origin story of Darth Plagueis. For one, we don't know. We've never, at least I don't think it's in the book, but I could be wrong.
Does it fall in the right timeline? 100 years before is roughly when Plagueis
existed? Force wielders live longer than your average human being anyway, so...
Right.
I just don't know the timeline of his story.
Well, his story in the book, that's a Legends book now, takes place when Palpatine was getting groomed. I think it was maybe 10, 15 years before episode 1. All the way up until leading into episode 1, I think. But okay. Darth Plagueis was a alien. He was what was called immune. So I'm assuming they had longer life. But I think they're changing his species. I think he's going to be human.
Because otherwise it'd be a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
everyone would be like, "Oh, that's Plagueis." Like, of course you have to change.
Yeah.
You have to.
And to be honest, I would have probably gone down the road that maybe it was Carrie-Anne Moss.
Oh, you think Carrie-Anne Moss is Darth
Well,
Plagueis?
I don't because I would have, that would have been a cool twist.
Yeah,
But the problem is Palpatine refers to him as a he in episode 3. So,
And we haven't seen a female leading Dark Force user yet either.
correct. Besides Ventress, a little bit.
Yeah, Ventress is the first that, but I'm meaning like someone that was high in the tiers
Yes.
of power.
Right.
Yes.
It's all been men for some reason.
But
So,
the reason why this could work is because we see someone make a choice out of love.
right.
When we see them make a choice, and that like slowly gets twisted over time, and it's just, and then all of a sudden, this person we were rooting, we're like, wait, how did we get to this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't know if this was intentional, but if you go to the databank of Star Wars, which they have these characters in there right now, under Master Soul, he's described as Master Soul is a wise, highly respected, powerful Jedi Master, strong in the ways of the Force, who is going through emotional conflict. So, again, I don't know if they're trying to give it away, but he's definitely going through something, which
Or red herring.
hints yeah,
It
hints
could be
at,
a red herring. It could be.
could be.
It could be one of the younglings. His name is Palpatine. I mean,
Yeah. Could be.
Well, one
could
of them
be.
did say, when he asked, "What do you see?" one of them said, "I see fire."
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like, "I see birds and trees," or like whatever, and he's like, "I see fire."
I
Like,
see life.
Yeah.
I see balance. I
Yeah.
see fire.
So there's your Acolyte right there.
Now, I think if you watch, at a minute 28 of the trailer where the red saber is caught,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the hand is a human hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks to be a dark skin, looks like to be a black hand. So, I don't think it's obviously not the assassin that we saw early on, right? I mean, I guess it could be, could it be, it could be May, right? May's,
She looked darker skin and
she's
is,
African American.
but-
So,
kind of dreadlock
But she
hairstyle.
wasn't using a saber, and we see her. There's a quick shot of her looking up at a cloaked figure. So
you said what now, Hannah? Quick shot of
sorry,
her.
yeah, I cut out there for a second. There's a quick shot where she's looking up, and she's looking up at a cloaked figure.
Yes, correct. Standing on the hills, the rock by the ocean. Yes.
So
Yeah. So is that figure right? Is that the figure wielding the saber?
I think so.
Yeah. I think that character. I think that's somebody they're not revealing on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Now you remember, and I don't know if I was talking to you about this, Hannah, or Martin. One of us, I think, we're talking about this. Might have been you, Hannah. I think on a previous show. Remember, we kind of go down that route as could they possibly bring Revan into this timeline?
We did, because there were rumors flying around that Keanu Reeves will be playing Revan in
Correct.
Acolyte.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing, though. I think, especially because they're still working on the remastering of the game, I think it might be Revan in a holocron.
Right. Yes.
Like, that's my theory. I'm sorry. That is something that will tick me off. If they move Revan to this time period, no. Revan belongs in the Old Republic. You keep Revan in the Old Republic because he's so critical to that whole fight between the Jedi and Sith.
Yeah. I agree.
Sorry, I'm very
agree.
passionate about the Old Republic.
Yes,
I
I
just-
agree.
No.
Okay. So I think we're all on the same page about the fact that the canon doesn't it's not necessarily retconned. I think there's plenty of explanations out there that why Mace and the council are having that discussion in episode 1. I'm still a little on the fence about how can they say that they know the rule of 2, but at some point I think that'll be taken care of.
I think you nailed it, though. When Mace says we haven't seen the Sith in a millennia or whatever, I think he's referring to it as a large force of Sith.
Right.
A big army or whatever. I think that's probably what he ends up referring to. And the fact that there's 1 or 2 dark users running around, they're not going to pluralize that as that there's tons of Sith back. No.
Yes.
Yeah, or it could be they have heard word of the Sith and they were doing research, but they were choosing not to be honest about it for the greater good. Because to them, it's not a threat yet. It's not thousands of them yet. So why ring the alarm bells?
Correct.
So it could be that was just a line. That was a lie, but meant not to create chaos.
Yeah. And this is a very, because there's only 1 or 2 Sith out there, this is a very isolated event, this whole whatever happens in this series. So in the grand scheme of things, in the whole galaxy, like the galaxy isn't under fire or under war. It's just a Jedi. So I feel like they're chalking it up to be just another battle, just another, kind of like with the Nihil and the earlier in this High Republic series. Like it's a whole battle of that part of the era, and you handle it and you move on to the next issue. And I don't think, and now I'm thinking about it too, Martin, based on what you just said, the conversation that Mace and Yoda had at the end about the rule of 2. It's like, well, technically the Jedi have the rule of 2, right? There's always a master and apprentice. So they may not be referring to saying that there's only 2, just that there's always a master and apprentice. So they're figuring out which one was which one was Maul, the master or the apprentice.
Yeah.
So that could be easily explained, actually, that they're not referring to the rule of 2 that Darth Bane. It's just that there's always a master and apprentice, like there are a Jedi, right? Yep. So I kind of just solved that myself, actually, right there.
There you go. You just talked yourself right out of it.
Yeah. Dang it. I wanted a real explanation, not my own. Okay. What I did want to just, I kind of said this, but I just wanted to highlight the timeline if everybody kind of asks that this is saying that this is 100 years before. We talked about the 3 phases of the High Republic in the novel series right now. So the Light of the Jedi, which came out phase 1, that takes place actually about 200 years before episode 1. So this is 100 years past that. Mm-hmm. So there is a character, the green-skinned Jedi that you see opening the door in the trailer. Her name is Vernestra. She is from that era of the High Republic. So she was a young Padawan. So that's her. She has extended from novels to live action. As of right now, I think that's the only one we know about that has made it all the way. So, I know Hannah's hoping Avar Kriss makes an appearance, but probably not.
No, not at this point.
And then phase 2, Quest of the Jedi in the High Republic, takes place actually 150 years before that. So you're talking 350 years before episode 1, and then Trials of the Jedi, the 3rd phase, takes place right after Light of the Jedi. So that's still around 200 or so, just under 200 years. So again, this is the High Republic era, but it's closer to episode 1. It's about 100 years. So it's still you can kind of tell that, which I don't know if you guys noticed, but in the books and the comics in the High Republic era, they're wearing different type of robes. This one, it looks like it's actually a kind of a cross between that era and the era of the Skywalker saga. So you kind of start seeing that transition. Did you guys?
It felt Obi-Wan Kenobi to me, what they were wearing.
Right. Yeah. But like Vernestra, there's an image of her on the databank. Like she actually looks like she's still kind of wearing Jedi, like High Republic robe. Mm-hmm. It's a little more colored, lighter. Well, it's dark. It's a lighter brown, but it's still like kind of goldish looking. Like the High Republic era. Whereas everybody else seems it's more like the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy kind of stuff. So anyway. All right. Anything else? Any final thoughts on the trailer?
I'm so ready for this show.
Yeah. Carrie-Anne Moss. That's
Moss.
Enough said. She is just amazing.
All right. I want to bring up some, let's see. I want to read some comments from, let's see. I want to read, I'm going to read a comment on our, from Patreon. Let's see. Thrawn on Patreon said, really enjoyed the trailer. Something new and fresh in the world of Star Wars. I like the murder mystery aspect of it and love this is set pretty much at the end of the High Republic era. I also like we get an idea what this story is about, but still so much we don't know. Interested to see if that is a Sith, because I'm sure either Mace or Ki-Adi-Mundi said that they haven't been seen for a millennia, so this character might be something slightly different. Either way, excited and looking forward to it. I think we definitely talked about that.
Yes.
Darth S&M said, Criffing awesome. I can't wait for this. I watched the trailer in the Star Wars app. There is a dispatch video showing a few extras. It said a few character names such as May, the lead, and a few others. The Wookiee, Kalnaka, Saul, the Jedi, teaching the young kids, Dara, Carrie-Anne Moss. I'm so glad I am up to date with the High Republic novels. There is a green-skinned Jedi in this trailer who is Vernestra Rowe, a big character in the High Republic. I wonder who else we will get. She had a Padawan, Emery. We don't know if he lives all the way through the books yet. Maybe we will find out. I mean, the show wouldn't spoil the books, right? There will still be a few left to release High Republic novels by the time this show starts. Good holy Miss Molly, this is going to be a good one. I don't think they'll definitely spoil anything. I mean, I think there's no way. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. And so I did get an email, a couple emails actually from, which I never get emails. Actually, I got some emails now.
Oh, wow. Feedback is starting to come out for you now.
Yeah. Let's see. This is from after we actually recorded this last week, Hannah, and then I talked about this theory from the last episode of the Bad Batch.
You did, and I lost it.
So Lee sent us an email that said, just a thought. In episode 7, The Extraction, the persistent clone assassin survives the encounter with the Bad Batch. Perhaps this anonymous shadow clone is a brainwashed version of either Tech or Commander Cody, fully repossessed and repurposed by Hemlock and his evil scientists.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yep.
Either of those makes sense. Like, it just does. Like, everyone's like, oh yeah, Cody went AWOL. But it could have been because they were tracking them. They're like, this trooper's showing a change.
Yes.
Time to experiment.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
I think it'd be more powerful if it was Tech, though.
I think it would be way more powerful for sure.
Yeah.
Because you have a brother who survived and stayed himself, and you have another brother who couldn't do it.
Yes. Okay, so Lee also sent an email here for this past week's, or today's episode. It said, looks like Fennec Shand couldn't be trusted after all. She weaseled her out of her deal she made with Hunter and Wrecker, then sells him out. Who might the mystery person be? So this is what we're talking about, Martin, that she contacts somebody at the end of the episode. It's kind of muffled and you can't hear them what they're saying. So who could it be? They're thinking, Lee's thinking it could be Boba Fett, Vader, or Ventress.
Possibilities, right?
Yeah. You're kind of you're thinking maybe it's Hemlock.
It could be Hemlock.
Could be Hemlock.
Could be Palpatine. It could also be Quinlan.
Yeah, could be.
Because he was a Jedi, he would know what M count is.
Yes.
And so
And
he
they
would
say-
try to hide away anybody who had a high M count away from the Empire.
Yes. Very true. Very true.
Because also, she made a comment, good or bad, their money is the same. As a bounty hunter, she doesn't care who she works for as long as she gets money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's why that's my theory. I think it's Quinlan. Because the music playing makes it sound like it's supposed to be someone bad. It's very ominous. But I think the perfect twist is, what if it's a Jedi that survived?
Yeah, could be someone new. Could be someone new.
Could be someone new. But I think it's Quinlan, because then that would make sense to have Ventress as your flashback.
Okay.
It would.
That's
and we have
true.
not gotten Quinlan truly in action form yet, so it's
Not
time
in
to
live
bring him
action,
around.
no. I mean, no, theoretically we did.
Yeah.
Theoretically,
Episode 1.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah, sitting in the background, but I mean, like
Theoretically.
him
That's right,
actually
that's right.
full on, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
No, I know. I'm just.
Yeah.
Lee continues and says, looking forward to episode 10, Identity Crisis. Perhaps we learn the identity of the secret assassin. So,
It's
Possibly.
probably tech.
Possibly.
At this point, it's probably tech.
yeah.
Or Crosshair's about to go through some really rough stuff. So
Or Emery Car.
Master Jojo mentions on Patreon too, says another possibility as to why the Phantom Menace nobody believed the Sith being back is that the Jedi witnessing the Sith in this series will lead to a secret, even in the Order itself, as to not freak anybody out and cause panic. The Jedi in the Clone Wars era were constantly lying and telling half-truths, so this would mark the very change for the Jedi Order in the fall of the High Republic era into the prequel movie era.
ooh, I like that.
It's not a bad theory. Yep, that's good.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good. Good, and that's definitely true. You know, the downfall of them is they start lying to themselves almost that, you know, this is not a threat. This is not going to be a big deal. You know, and they kind of keep it from the rest of the order. That's why I'm saying, like, because Kiadi Mundi and Mace are the ones talking about that. The 4 other ones that are lived in the High Republic, you know, they could be over there going, yeah, I don't know anything. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, look,
Sith?
all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah,
something
Sith.
great.
Look at that ship out there. I don't
Yeah, do you see that ship? That must be the newest model.
Yeah, totally.
And then Yoda pulls Mace aside. He's like, hey, Mace, BT dubs.
Oh, because actually Yoda's the one that says, you know, hard to see the dark side is, right? And he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So Yoda pulls him aside. He's like, Ixnay on
but he
the.
knows exactly how to change the subject. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. A couple more comments real quick. Thrawn on YouTube said, great episode once again from last week. I was actually looking forward to the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron movie, but I don't think it will happen. This information hasn't come from Disney, but just Jenkins saying she owes Disney a script treatment or something like that in an interview. Don't get me wrong. We'd love to see a Top Gun style Star Wars movie, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think they mentioned it was meant to be set post Rise of Skywalker, which would be interesting. I think I don't know if that's true or not. I thought it was. I don't know. That would be interesting if that was true. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, that would be.
We shall see, but I think Disney should just concentrate on the latest 3 to 4 films they have announced. Once again, Hannah, I agree we need someone to direct an Old Republic movie. At this point, I would let a monkey produce and direct it just so we can get something in the Old Republic.
Okay, I don't know if I'd go that far, but
Right. Yeah.
but I appreciate and I agree with your sentiment. We need something old.
Yeah.
Like, please. There's so much content there.
Agreed. And then he says, I hope and wish Jake Lloyd all the best and hope he gets better. I've seen footage of him at events years ago and always appeared he might have some issues and struggles. I know he wasn't well liked in The Phantom Menace and he has always had some backlash from fans, but I personally thought he was okay as a kid actor. Go and just did his best with Lucas directing him. Also, well-known Lucas is not the best directing actors in general. True. Lastly, I love these last 2 episodes of The Bad Batch. So much fun with lots of great action and great seeing Gregor and Wolf. I must admit, I was scared for a second Crosshair was going to die fighting in the waterfall. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tech could be that shadow clone for sure, but I'm in two minds about it. Would be awesome to have Tech back, but again, would just make death meaningless in Star Wars. Thanks again, both. May the Force be with you.
I don't know out there because we didn't see a body.
Well, and I think...
But that's true. But that is true, right? Yeah.
But we didn't see a body. We just saw him fall.
The proof is in Hemlock's hands. He actually says, here's your friend's goggles, and hands him Tech's goggles. So
Yeah,
we know Hemlock already got to the body.
True.
Right?
An excellent point. How else would he have gotten the goggles?
Exactly.
Oh yeah. They recovered him for sure.
Yeah.
It has to be Tech.
Something's gonna happen with Tech.
Yeah. But again, that kind of goes to our point, right? Does that diminish that the death and what it meant for the team, to come together? And I don't know. That does things like that is true when you start bringing people back like that.
Yeah. I don't think it'll diminish it because we didn't have to do a funeral and saying goodbye or anything like that. They had to quickly move on because they were still in a tense situation. Yeah, and the fact that Hemlock, the type of character he is, being scientific, experimental, with clones and all that kind of stuff, it kind of falls right into that. He gets this body, and now he's going to exact a plan to use it. It kind of makes sense. So it won't ruin the loss of Tech. I think it'll make it a much more emotional impact when he does get revealed, and the whole team has to realize, holy crap, we might have to kill our brother because he's after us, kind of thing. And they have no other answer but to have to kill him. And that would be even harder than just realizing he's back, but not. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if Ventress were to come back, I would argue that is diminishing a death.
That's a different, yeah.
So I think the circumstances are different.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Real quick again, Darth S&M loved these two episodes. They have added more to the world with the CX troopers and with Wolf kind of helping the Empire. That really satisfies my craving for more story. But I keep hearing one thing come up a lot. Shout outs to Rise of the Red Blade. Looking at you, Hannah. I want in on that review. Council session. Finish that Thrawn trilogy first, though, Dave. I get it. Thrawn first, Hannah. Hannah and I will just have to wait, but oh man, maybe Tech, Crosshair did say they wipe away their identities. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you too. You know how good that book is.
I know. I got to get to that book.
Have you read it, Martin?
No, I don't. I may have been, every time I hear you guys recommend things, I just go and look for the audiobook and immediately buy it on my Audible account. So
yes.
Yeah.
Rise of the Red Blade apparently is the one to get next.
Rise of the Red Blade, okay.
I mean,
I have 8 credits still, so I haven't used them all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's one major problem I have with the book, and I'm not going to say what it is because it's a spoiler.
Yeah.
A major spoiler.
Okay.
Right.
But all in all, I think it's a solid book. And and I won't say anymore because I'm going to give away too much.
And then, of course, we got Siber Wren, our own Siber Wren last week commenting.
What did that guy say? He's always got great opinions.
Yeah,
he said, in total, complete exposure, I don't care what story they go with for Asajj. I'll be over the Endor moon with glee that she's back on our screens. 6 episodes of Tale. Heck yeah, give us Asajj.
It's like Martin, that was your opinion. It's like we're on the same wavelength.
I must have been pulling it from somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
And what I meant was not just referring to why is she alive, but even if it's a flashback scene or a memory scene or whatever, I don't care. It's Asajj on our screens again. That's what I meant.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that will do it for this episode. Do I see any comments? Actually, my trailer, let's see, Darth S&M on my trailer said, great job, Dave. Your power has grown since last time. I saw some pretty sweet edits there. The crawler exploding and then cutting right to the drop shuttle exploding. Wow, wizard. Yeah, so awesome.
Yeah, little known fact. Dave is an editor. Like, he was an editor.
I was an editor for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'll
it
check
was
it out and let you know.
Yes. Thank you.
absolutely
Thank you.
fantastic.
Yeah, and I
And the
just
thing
downloaded.
about it is I had the episode 1 trailer and the episode 2 trailer that was released. I had those actually done a while ago. So I haven't done the episode 3 trailer at all yet. So I've got to dive into that over these next few weeks. So
That'll be good.
anyway.
Well, with all your editing, like one project I have on my plate is to edit the 7th season or those few episodes of the 7th season of Clone Wars intermixed with episode 3
Oh.
because
yeah.
they play at the exact same time. And when I watched it with my 2 ladies in the house here, because they hadn't seen them yet, we actually paused. We had the movie and the Clone Wars going at the same time, and we would pause and jump back and forth at the specific points you're supposed to. And what a complete story. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's
Now, I think I've heard
cool.
someone has done this before.
Yeah, that's where I have it. I printed it out. I have the exact time marks you need
to
stop one and go to the other, and that's what we followed. But nobody's actually edited it all together to make it one.
No, I think someone
movie.
has edited it all together.
Oh, okay.
I think it's on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube. But they have also edited. They also like all Order 66. So they edited Fallen Order in it. The Bad Batch. They've put all of that in there. I think there's
that's
a cut.
A lot of work. Holy cow!
Yeah, there's a cut out there that has every piece around that time, that Order 66 time.
All right, I know what I'm next watching on YouTube.
That's right.
Yeah,
yeah. I think
it is cool though, because you know that everything that's happening with Anakin is in one part of the galaxy, and everything that's happening with Ahsoka is somewhere else, and they're both experiencing this stuff in the exact same time, and yet their stories are still twisted together, right? But so you see her reacting to what he's doing, and oh my god, it is so emotional.
It's so cool. Yeah,
Gosh.
it's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just downloaded Rise of the Red Blade, so I got it.
Nice.
Next audiobook. Here we go.
All right. So thanks, Siber, for jumping on.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Anytime again.
Yeah. I know you wanted to talk about this trailer. We'll talk more about it on the Mandalore podcast this weekend. Hannah, as always, thanks for staying up. I'm keeping you up late. You got a lot to do tomorrow, I'm sure.
Let's sleep. Thank you.
Yeah, you're getting used to not sleeping, so it's okay.
Just give me a bunch of Diet Coke and I'm good to go.
Oh, well, we mean coffee, right? You drink coffee too, right?
Yeah, sure. Coffee's too acidic for me now.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what Diet Cokes are for me. It doesn't do anything for me. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching, for listening. Of course, thanks to our patrons. As always, go to patreon.com/InsideTheForce. You want to check us out there. A lot more content going up on there. We're on YouTube. Of course, catch us different shows. Martin, me, and him are doing council sessions together. And Hannah, we got to get some Beyond the Sagas done.
Yes.
Of course, Corey and I are planning another Dark Knowledge based on this trailer that's out here, too. We're going to deep dive into some of that. So lots of stuff coming. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. May the Force be with you.